Archangel Michael, rewriting your life. Greetings to you beloved beings of light, I am Archangel Michael. It is a joy to be in your presence today, to bring forth my angelic vibrations of love and peace to embrace and serve you. I am here to be in service to you, to assist you in your reality upon the earth. In your physical body, you have a beautiful playground. You can impact your physical body and your surroundings through your thoughts, your intentions, your emotions, your likes, your dislikes, your connection with your soul and the Creator. You have a powerful influence upon this playground of life, and it is a playground because, however stuck you may feel, however immovable things feel, you and your reality are flexible like a tree swaying in the wind. You have the ability to move in time with your own inner rhythm of the Creator which flows to you, and through you, from the universe of the Creator. You are part of a greater whole. You dance in time with this wholeness and completeness, and yet you have the ability to dance a unique dance, your own unique expression of the Creator. This unique dance and expression of the Creator is yours to choose to express it, and live it in your reality the way you wish to, the way you choose to. You choose each part of the rhythmic music. You choose each step or movement that your body makes, and it's not in a controlling way. It doesn't matter if you miss a step, or, in fact, you begin a whole new dance, in a completely new direction. Everything is linked and connected, so it's not really a new dance, or a new direction, however much it may feel like it is. There is always a purpose to every step you take, whether you take it with conscious awareness, or not. You have the ability to write your life, and you are already achieving this. You also have the ability to rewrite your life, to rewrite your story of what you've already experienced. The only way to rewrite your story is to first accept the story that you've created, not in a shameful or judgmental way, but a realization of acceptance that, on some level, you chose the story you are experiencing, or have experienced. Now you may say to me, Archangel Michael, that you would never choose the story that you are experiencing. And you don't know how others are choosing the story that they are experiencing. With acceptance that you played some part, and that you're willing to take some responsibility even if you don't understand it completely, then, with that acceptance, you are giving a gift of rewriting your story. Think of an area in your reality that you've experienced in the past, or now, that you don't particularly like, or maybe it's hurtful, or you wish it had never happened. Or maybe you don't like the way things are unfolding at the moment. When you say to yourself that you accept full responsibility for the creation of this story/scenario/experience, and you fully feel it within your being and your body, then you can imagine what you wish for. What do you wish for? You can think of it, imagine it as colorful and as vibrant as you wish, even if it seems impossible. Maybe it's your wildest dream. You can say to yourself, I choose this story/this scenario or experience from now on. Imagine that story/experience/scenario has an energy and a color, and you're breathing it into your entire body and being as you're existing now. It's as if you're absorbing the entire experience. You are becoming, you are embodying. You can ask yourself to write or download this story/experience/scenario into your being now for full experience at a physical level. You have the power to rewrite every aspect of your being and your reality, if you wish. You might recognize that you are, at times, ungrateful or stressed, or maybe something else. You can ask yourself, what do you choose to be instead? If you could rewrite that experience, what would you choose instead? Remember, you first have to accept the responsibility of creating that feeling. And accept it fully, then you can begin to imagine a new experience, feeling it, sensing it, drawing it deep into your being, thus rewriting and rewiring your entire being. Not only will you be healing wounds, releasing stuck energies, and balancing your being, but you'll be calling forth new energies, like wisdom and support to serve you, and for that I, Archangel Michael, am immensely grateful. I thank you. I am Archangel Michael. 88888 Passage Ascension Update. As we approach the 888 passage, many of you will start receiving profound activations, transmissions from your soul and monad, and the healing codes required to activate your DNA and monadic twin flame within yourself. We are now reaching the peak of all we have been healing. Retrieving this 8th universal year, revealing more of who we are, and our personal mission. Numbers are often the language in which God expresses herself. Behind numbers are letters and light codes that give instructions to our DNA and coordinates that activate our time codes, allowing our consciousness to travel through time and space. This activation is now taking place in many of us, for it is time for us to reconnect to the many timelines in which we dwell. The 888 passage represents a planetary opening guarded by the white Elohim in our Earth's fabrics of time and space, gradually reconnecting the lost connection with other dimensions. The emerald retrieval that we are undergoing is a process that was already initiated many years ago by Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and that is now finally being concluded. They were genetic equals, descendants from the future 8 deep timelines, and hence timekeepers and Templar workers, for Jesus' 12th tribe were more than what we have been told. Both hold a unique and unified essence template, with the light codes required to achieve this work. Both experienced ascension, while they were physical beings, which is what the triple number 8 also signifies from an individual perspective, the transcendence of a physical body, and human consciousness and embodiment of our Divine One. Many of you are now embodying your twin flame through polarity integration, awakening to your mission, and reuniting with those who are meant to help you bring this same planetary healing. Many of you have come in tribes, and others will act more solitary. All is orchestrated divinely for the whole to evolve. Our mission is not to want this or that, but to accept God's will, and fulfill our unique purpose within creation. This does not mean we do not have desires, but our desires now do not come from the ego, but from our purest soul desire to assist all. We are reaching the end of a cycle, one of soul and monadic reconnection, that will conclude next year, for it is 9 years the period and effort it takes to restore the many manipulated grids in our planet, retrieving connection to the illumined planes, and concluding a cycle. This is why it is so important to reconnect ourselves through DNA strands to our soul and monad. For we are now receiving 8-dimensional frequencies that help us communicate with this inner work of self-reconnection, transcendence, and illumination. Number 888 represents the connection to the 8th-dimensional timelines, to our equal genetically, for it is when we initiate ourselves in the monadic dimensions that we start merging with our equal, whether incarnated or not. It is in the 8th dimension, where our soul records reside, and all the information we need to remember about who we are, our galactic heritage, and what we need to heal to embody our mission. There will be many of you with Orion lineage now healing galactic cores, restoring the trauma at a monadic level, as even though now evolved, Orion experienced deep polarization, as well as many other beings within creation, who are evolving exactly as we are now. All the memories from the 8 dimensions you have experienced, whether as an Orion, Syrian, or any other civilization, are not being retrieved for you to embrace its lessons and knowledge, and let go of painful memories through soul retrieval. The 888 passage offers us the codes for us to activate our multidimensionality, as we are all multidimensional beings, but when we were born into this earth plane, we were literally unplugged in our DNA from our ability to connect to other dimensions. When we activate our multidimensionality in our second DNA strand, responsible for time, space, and linearity, we start moving our consciousness outside of our time-space, reconnecting further DNA strands, and moving into a new level of awareness. It is then that we can remember the infinite of our existence, memories, and wisdom. This passage is for us to tune into a new timeline. Each of you will experience a unique activation, even though planetarily speaking we are undergoing an emerald retrieval, expanding heart, consciousness, and healing polarities. You all have your own microcycles and experiences to live. You will receive the initiation that you need for this time, and you are ready to integrate. Numbers signs from your guides in the form they send to you, and your own unified self will inform you of where you are, and what you uniquely need to activate. Pay attention to numbers, especially at this time, as when the soul awakes, it starts seeing numbers, because it starts connecting to the wisdom of the universe, which is based on numbers, geometry, and dimensions. Numbers that activate consciousness, and your unique template, leading you, through synchronicity, to what you are meant to experience next. For now you no longer are governed by outer forces, but by your inner divine ones. Each of you has unique galactic soul memories to address, heal, clear, and remove from your DNA. All of us have DNA anomalies to heal that are unique to our personal experiences on this and many other dimensions, and only you know what this passage means for you. As guides repeatedly say, trust that you know who you are, and that your soul is guiding you towards what is best for you to experience, activate, heal, and expand at this time. As I always say, God does not repeat herself. Why would you want to be like someone else? You are a precious God's creation with abilities no one else has, and do, in the way you do it. You will be guided to what you need to work with, to activate your gifts, and be of service, in your unique way. Do not take away from us the unique gift you bring to this earth, by wanting to be someone else. Embrace who you are, and release the gift of your presence, to the world, beloveds. With an infinite love. Natalia, Alba. Jen. Cock. The 5 Paths. Dear Earth humans. This is Cock speaking. When I decided to stop being evil, a natural question arose: what is my new primary goal in life? In fact, what are the non-evil goals that I can even choose between? And what was my previous goal, back when I was doing selfish and destructive things? What actually was I hoping to accomplish? What was driving me forward? To answer those questions, I have created the following model. However, keep in mind that I'm still in the middle of my personal development journey, so this isn't necessarily the ultimate truth, nor is this the way in which most galactics look at things. After all, you can model reality in lots of ways. However, my personal model says that all people are on one, or perhaps 2 of 5 paths. Path of comfort. Most people on Earth are on the path of comfort. Their primary goal is just a comfortable life for themselves and their loved ones. They want a reasonable amount of pleasure, and not too much pain in it, and that's more or less all they want. They're pretty satisfied with having a normal life. Typically these are decent, unremarkable people. Or they're people who are quite remarkable, or have great potential, but they got hurt badly somewhere along the way, and so for the moment they're in survival mode, and so they're focusing on getting comfort. If you put enough financial or psychological stress on people, typically they go into survival mode, and revert back to the path of comfort. Which is something that the dark controllers know well, and I can personally confirm this to be generally true. People on the path of comfort generally don't put huge amounts of effort into becoming incredibly successful, or doing deep inner work, or doing great acts of service. That said, they may be willing to work hard to create or maintain a comfortable life for themselves or their loved ones, and they may be willing to occasionally donate to charity, or occasionally do some volunteer work. These people don't tend to be evil, although they can relatively easily be manipulated into supporting evil things, and they can be pushed to do evil things if their comfortable lives are sufficiently threatened. This is part of why entire populations of seemingly fine and decent people can be pushed onto an evil path, if the right fear-mongering and propaganda is applied to them. After all, doing independent research, and potentially disagreeing with friends and family isn't as comfortable as just believing what the media says, and complying. People on the path of comfort tend to resist accepting truths that are psychologically uncomfortable, as we are currently seeing on Earth. Fortunately, it's entirely possible for people to switch paths. Just because someone is on the path of comfort today, doesn't mean they always will be. Path of coping with emptiness. This is the path I was on. If someone didn't receive enough love and belonging, as a child, or don't sufficiently feel their connection to Source, they may feel a sense of emptiness inside. People on this path are trying to actively cope with this feeling of emptiness. In which way? Well, there's lots of options. A person can be a driven entrepreneur. Or a person can numb themselves with drugs. Or a person can try to become a famous athlete or TV personality or influencer in order to try and fill their emptiness with adoration from strangers. Or a person can seek luxury or wealth or lots of sex. Or a person can become evil and seek power and control. Or a person can seek to create something that they feel will give their life some purpose. Or a person can seek to create or do something that will make sure they are remembered even after their death. Someone who gets viscerally invested into the idea that the other political side, or some ethnic group is the source of all evil, may start repeatedly bashing that group as their way of coping with emptiness. It's how they feel that they can give meaning and purpose to their life, and, because they're so invested in their crusade, they're typically thinking in overly black and white terms. Someone who is hugely bothered by the idea that their life is meaningless is probably also on this path, because their core problem may very well be that they lack love and an experienced connection to the divine growing up. Conversely, someone who did receive enough love and did experience enough connection to the divine probably isn't overly bothered by the idea of meaninglessness, and will instead just focus on improving their own life, helping others, finding a partner, doing something meaningful or enjoyable, etc. In recent times, more and more people are being raised with insufficient love and belonging and felt connection to the divine, which means that more and more people may be drawn to this path. This is why so many young people nowadays are trying to become YouTube famous or TikTok famous. People on this path can be hideously evil. Or they can be entrepreneurs who genuinely are a net benefit to society. Or they can be TikTok stars who are neither a huge help nor a huge detriment to society. But in all cases, they're coping with their internal feeling of emptiness. It's just that some people do that in a way that helps others, and some people do that in a way that hurts others. People on this path don't just want a house, and a family, and some holidays, and some comfort, because they would still feel empty even if they have that. This is why some people who on paper have a good life and a fine family still initiate divorce anyway, and later regret that, or they turn to drugs or sexual affairs and ruin their lives. It's because back when their life was fine on paper, they still felt the emptiness, and they were still trying to find an external solution to an internal problem. The actual solution to this feeling of emptiness is to heal your old pain, to give yourself love, to receive love from others, and to try and become aware again of your connection to the divine. Someone who does that is on one of the three upcoming paths, namely the path of spiritual growth, the path of helping people, or the path of having experiences. This also suggests that if you've been traumatized and are currently struggling with that pain, it might help to adopt one of those three upcoming paths, spiritual growth, helping people, having experiences, as a motivator to help yourself through the healing process. Path of spiritual growth. These are people whose primary goal is spiritual growth and / or related things like healing and discovering truth. These people may still do things like work a regular job, go to a psychologist, visit friends, buy nice things for their house, eat ice cream, watch television, etc. People don't need to be spending every waking hour doing spiritual things to be on this path. Picture someone who has a job and a family. They'll be spending most of their time on their job, or their family, or doing necessary chores, or just watching TV, when they're too exhausted to do anything substantial. However, suppose that this person has a little bit of free time, where they feel good, and have the energy to do something substantial. How are they spending that time? If they're often, not necessarily always, spending that on something like meditation or self-healing, or on other spiritual pursuits, then they're on the path of spiritual growth. People on this path are doing their deep work, and aren't just after comfort, and aren't just after ways of coping with internal emptiness. If they have trauma, these people are willing to face it. and experience pain in the present in order to heal and grow. Path of helping others. These are people who are primarily interested in helping others, or serving the divine, or serving some greater cause. Being on this path requires more focus on service than just donating a bit of money to charity each month. That said, you don't necessarily need to be self-sacrificing or spend every waking hour on helping others to be on this path. What's required is that you are primarily interested in helping others, not that you are exclusively interested in helping others. A person on this path can be a non-spiritual, altruistic person who spends a lot of time helping the homeless in practical ways. Or it can be a devout person who takes their religion's call to do good very seriously. Or it can be a spiritual person who is primarily focusing on helping others or doing acts of service rather than focusing on spiritual growth. Path of experiences. Finally, the last path is the path of experiences. People on this path just seek out experiences for its own sake. These may be people who like to travel, who like to meet and talk to new people, who like to try out new activities. They may have a bucket list of things they would like to do. Or they may want to have the experience of focusing on one thing, whether that's mastering the guitar, or having a loving family and becoming really good at it. Contrary to people on the path of comfort, people on this path are willing to face discomfort and risk and pain and uncertainty and financial hardship to have their experiences. This is the type of person who realizes that becoming a writer or artist will lead to a financially unstable future, and they become a writer or artist anyway. People on the path of comfort say be realistic, while these people say follow your dreams. If you have a genuine artist whose music comes from the heart or from the soul and whose music touches millions of people, probably they were on the path of experiences. Conversely, the type of artist who just wants money and fame and who focuses on making music that is commercially successful is probably on the path of coping with emptiness. People on the path of experiences can be magnetic because often they're aligned with their soul. After all, their soul also wants to have experiences. That said, not everyone on the path of experiences will eventually become a great, well-known artist. There are people who are genuinely on the path of experiences, and yet during their life they remain an obscure and perhaps not even exceptionally good writer or singer, and that's it. However, that doesn't matter that much to these people. They just wanted to write, or they just wanted to play guitar, and that's what they did. There's a certain beauty and pureness to doing something without being attached to the outcome. People on the path of experiences don't necessarily need to focus on doing something that they then present to the world. Someone who just wants to travel as much as possible, not as a coping/escape mechanism, but just because they love it, is also on the path of experiences. A stay-at-home mom whose primary goal is having a thriving family and who is willing to do painful inner work to become a better mother and wife is also on the path of experiences. Why this model is useful. Okay, so we have our model. Everyone is on one, or perhaps two of the following paths: comfort, or coping with emptiness, or spiritual growth, or helping others, or experiences. Why is this useful? Well, it's pretty doable to know which path people are on just by having a short conversation with them or by looking at how they're spending their time. And once you know which path they're on, you typically understand them much better, and you can adjust your expectations and how you talk to them. For example, if you know someone is on the path of comfort, you're probably not going to accomplish anything by telling them that their government is malevolent, including most of the politicians on their political side. That's not a comfortable message, so it will just get rejected. In this case, you know that what these people want is comfort, and what they avoid is anything that threatens their comfort. So you can either be kind to them and listen to them, and perhaps in time they will feel safe and comforted enough that they will switch to another path. Or if you insist on trying to wake them up in the present, now you know that you need to tie it into something that directly threatens their personal comfort. So just saying that the government is malevolent won't work. However, saying that mass illegal immigration will disrupt their personal comfortable lives, and that it will get worse and worse until the border is secured, might plant a seed in their mind. And that seed might later bear fruit. Also, if you understand that most people on Earth are on the path of comfort, you won't be disappointed by the fact that many of them are only going to wake up when their own personal lives stop being comfortable, in a way that the mainstream media can't just blame on Trump. Because only when their lives stop being comfortable will people on the path of comfort be forced to learn about reality in order to be able to prevent further destruction of their personal comfort. On a macro scale, how can billions of people on the path of comfort be nudged awake? Well, the best way would be for the gray hats to arrest the bad guys and provide disclosure and dramatically improve living standards. Then people's lives would become good enough that people wouldn't have to primarily focus on comfort anymore. However, the gray hats thus far refuse to do that, and the souls of the people on Earth can nudge things a bit, but they can't cause mass arrests and public disclosure. So the backup plan is that the souls of the people of Earth are nudging things towards declining living standards and scary conflicts, so that people are forced to wake up because their comfort is getting destroyed. Let's discuss another example of how you can use this model. If you're a parent and your child is on the path of experiences, it probably doesn't help to keep insisting that your child makes the safe and responsible choice, because your child is going to follow their dream. Best to support them in any way you can, and let the chips fall where they may. Next up, let's say someone is on the path of coping with emptiness. Well, now you know that their actual underlying problem is lack of received love, belonging and connection to the divine. So you can contribute to their healing by giving them love and a sense of belonging, either in a community/family or by saying how much they mean to you. Don't expect people on the path of coping with emptiness to necessarily act in moral or logical ways. They might act in ways that seem pointlessly destructive or self-destructive from the outside. And just telling them not to do these things doesn't help give them love and belonging instead. Finally, it can be good to ask yourself, which path or paths are you currently on? Feel free to share in the comment section if you want. With love, your star brother, Cock.